the need for the stock, we named it as StockMed. So the need of the StockMed was we made a ground survey to many vaccine centers.
Okay.
And we got, for example, one screenshot I have put here of one area called Pilani. So this was the vaccine availability numbers in person when we did the ground survey. But on the COVID, it was not sure. The numbers were not there. It was showing not available. So that's why we thought of this StockMed. So our work will be divided into two parts. One is the StockMed app and one is the StockMed web page. So in the StockMed app, the volunteers from many areas will update the data from different locations into the app, and the data will be transferred to the web page where the common people can access it and get information about the stocks available, the medical stocks.
Okay.
So the interface first, we are working on the app, Abhi. Currently, we're working on the app. So this will be the volunteer login page where their phone numbers and password will be linked to the app, and they will log in through their phone number and the password. Then, for example, the volunteer A is operating their data, is entering his data from the location X. So our app will be connected to the Google Maps so that he can efficiently enter the data into the app, enter the numbers of the medical stock available. So it will use center name and the pin code of the area. Then this will be the page which where the stock input will be available. I mean, where the stock input will happen. For example, if there are 3 vaccines, COVID, Covishield, Sputnik, and many other vaccines are available. So the doses, how many doses are present in their areas will be updated in the stock input page. So this all data in the app, StockMed app, will be transferred to the StockMed web page, which can be accessed by common people to get the information of the medical supply. This is the progress, sir. We have almost developed the app. Now we'll move to the web page.
Okay. Now, Sana, just one question. What is the motivation for these volunteers to upload the data?
Because of the last time, the second wave crisis was horrible and people had to rush to social media as an all to get the information of the medical supplies. So if they are volunteering for it, means that all the common people will have the access to actual medical supplies and all.
No, you'll have to give them some more, something more, no?
Yes, sir. We have
Probably
to think of it. What can we do?
yeah, some sort of an ad which can go into your web page. Like
Yes,
they are
sir.
giving the data periodically, and their whatever they are interested, that ad probably can go into your web page.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because otherwise these volunteers' data will not be updated regularly. It's might be unreliable.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So by next review, that is after 2 weeks, what will you show us?
So we will try to show the app operating and the maybe the web page also.
App and web page. Okay.
As in, yes, sir.
That is after 2 weeks. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Just note down. Sudha sir, anything else?
No, nothing. Yeah, I think that they are progressing in the right direction.
Yeah, that's it.
And the other thing is, as you already asked her, and she answered that their next priority is synchronizing with the web page, right? Am I right? So,
yes, sir.
So that aspect, rather than sticking to the present progress, my strong suggestion, as Sujit sir asked about that thing, in the next couple of weeks, I think we will be meeting after 2 weeks now. So definitely by that time, there should be a considerable progress in that web page aspect. Is it okay? Hello?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Yeah. And
Okay.
also Sushil sir mentioned about incorporating some sort of alert so that those volunteers they can keep on updating the thing. Okay, so some sort of alert in your app will help the volunteers also, alerting them to update the web page also. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's it from
Yeah.
my part.
Okay. Next group, who is ready? Group 1.
Sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. Who is it?
Sir, Ashwin Kumar, sir, from Group
Ashwin.
1.
Ashwin. What is your final project?
Sir, that e-bottle, sir, you have chosen.
Invisible ink.
No, sir, e-bottle.
E-bottle.
That cool and
yeah,
that heating and cooling, sir.
No, which group are you?
Group 1, sir.
Ashwin, Aditya, Raj, Sirvani. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because I have noted it as invisible ink.
No, sir.
And now, initially you proposed invisible ink, is it?
Yes, sir. We proposed that invisible ink and this e-bottle and paper recycler, sir, for
Yeah.
office purposes.
So it is called e-bottle. Huh?
E-bottle.
Bottle or
Yes.
E? E for elephant.
E. Yes, sir. E for elephant.
Okay. Fine. Yeah. Tell us what is the progress.
Yes, sir. Just a moment. So can you see my screen, sir?
Just 1 second. I'm getting it. Yeah, I can see it now.
Yes, sir. Shall I start, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Sir, yes, sir. So basically, we have can say like we have started on how to move forward on this one, sir. So basically, we have identified the components which are necessary. So basically, the bottle and the heating and the cooling mechanisms are the 3 main components, and after that comes the covers and other parts which are needed for this. So the bottle we have chosen to be somewhat similar to a vacuum flask because just even after keeping the temperature, it is also necessary to hold it, sir. So we need to go. It will be somewhat similar to a vacuum flask where it can hold the temperature, sir. So the idea is that the bottle is similar to a vacuum flask and it will have the heating mechanism under, sir. And after that heating mechanism, we have thought of keeping the vacuum so that the heat will stay inside instead of going into the outer casing. So this is what we have thought for the bottle, in order to keep the heat inside the bottle itself. And the next for the heating mechanism, in order to display the temperature for the heating mechanism, we are using the thermal sensors, which will sense the. It will get cut off until the desired temperature it's reached whenever the heating mechanism heats the contents inside the bottle. And the mechanism which we thought of is the solenoid heating mechanism, which will heat the contents. And for the cooling mechanism, we thought of incorporating the cooling mechanism itself in the bottle, but it seems to be difficult. So rather than that, we have thought of a sleeve-like structure where we'll place the bottle on a sleeve, which will cool the contents inside the bottle. Right now, we have thought about gel or liquid nitrogen coolant, sir, but since it's an e-bottle, we are also searching for any electrical methods of cooling the contents inside the bottle. And right now, this is what we have progressed, sir.
No, my suggestion is, why don't you just stick to heating alone?
Yes, sir. Heating alone, it's better. Yes, sir. I will think about it, sir.
It's doable. Huh?
Yes, sir. Cooling mechanism, it requires another.
Shiva sir?
Yes, sir. About that cooling mechanism, where you keep that liquid nitrogen or the coolant, I mean the storage location.
Sir,
Is there any
yes,
specific
sir,
storage location? Because with the initial diagram, it shows about the vacuum region, then that silver coated thing in a part, then the outer casing. Am I right? So if at all you want to add the cooling mechanism, you require the coolant, right? Liquid nitrogen, whatever you mentioned. So where you will keep
Yes, sir.
this, I mean the storage. Is there any idea
Yes,
you
sir,
people
sir.
having?
Sir, that's what we said there, sir. That it's a separate structure, sir. That cooling mechanism itself, because it can't be incorporated with the bottle itself. It'll be a separate mechanism, like a sleeve on which the bottle will be placed for cooling.
What do you mean by that? I cannot make out anything about that statement, sleeve-like structure. Do you have a sketch of that? Do you have
Sir,
a sketch of it?
Sketch. There are some examples, sir, in the market. It's like a pen cap for a pen, sir.
No, whenever you want to present something, you should have at least a sketch of it, right? Rather than have a statement, sleeve-like
Yes,
structure, because I'm not familiar with it.
Okay, sir. I will.
Okay.
Yes.
And as Sushil sir suggested, it is you people can decide upon that. Sushil sir suggested that it is better to stick on to heating mechanism. So irrespective of that, when you have sleeve-like structure, you mentioned means you should be familiar with that structure. So a
Right,
better way to present is you should have that line sketch at least.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Right, sir.
And Ashwin, another problem is you can't use the same vacuum bottle for cooling.
Yes, sir.
So it has to be in direct contact with the
Yes.
cooling volume.
The bottle itself.
Bottle itself. So it
Yes,
will
sir.
not work. Okay. So next, after 2 weeks, what are you going to show us?
Sir, probably we will finish off all these theoretical stuff and we will start planning on how it can be made. Sir.
And present us with a proper CAD diagram. Okay.
Yes, sir.
No cut and paste. We will not accept.
Sir.
So CAD diagram for a heating mechanism.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next group. Yeah. What's your group number?
So group 8.
Sorry?
Group 8.
Group?
8.
3. Huh?
No, sir, 8.
See, I'm not getting your screen. This
Just
one.
on 8.
8, sir. 8, sir.
Sanjay is telling 8, is it?
Yes, sir. Group number 8.
Okay. Okay, your group. Okay. What have you decided? What's your topic?
It's intelligent power saving system using sensors.
Power saver device. Huh?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Sir, can you see the screen, sir?
Just 1 second. Yeah, I'm getting it.
Okay, sir. These 6 people are my team members, sir. And then last week we discussed about what sensor to use and why to use that sensor, and then we came to a conclusion that we can continue with PIR sensor, which is passive infrared sensor. And then using this PIR sensor, we can go in 2 ways. One is using this fully automated sensor, which can be directly connected to the phase wire, which will be automatically turning the light on if it is directing something. But the problem with this is the maximum watt limit, sir. It has a limitage of 40 watts, and then we cannot adjust the distance at which it will be operating, and then we can we cannot adjust the delay time also. And then one more ways we can we ourselves can make a circuit using separate PIR sensor, relay, and Arduino board and breadboards. So if we are doing like that, we can start using this HCSR501 PIR sensor with the Fresnel lens for range and more angle of coverage. Backseat this sensor will be having two potentiometers. So one potentiometer would be adjusting the sensitivity of it, so we can control at what range you have to direct the object. 7 meters is the maximum range of it, but as the range increases, the accuracy of it decreases, and then we can set delay from 0.3 to 5 minutes. This delay is for how much time the device should be active after sensor is not detecting something. Also, we can trigger it.
Okay, Tejas, what I understand is you are using commercially off-the-shelf items. Okay.
Yes, sir.
To do your power saver.
Yes, sir.
What is your contribution? What is that novel thing you are doing?
Sir, programming, sir. We will be connecting this PIR sensor, relay, and Arduino, sir. And then we will be programming in this Arduino, sir. So
For this sensor, my understanding is already some program is available on the
yes,
net.
sir. Yes, sir.
Then what is your contribution?
Sir, that's what, sir. In using this, we can only turn on or off one single bulb or fan, sir. So what we are planning is like we'll be having 4 or 5 sensors here. So if any one place is if any one sensor detects, there will be only one fan for large areas, but there will be many lights around the room.
No, no.
So,
Who's your customers? Is it going to be one single room or office?
sir, we can use it for anything, sir, like classroom or home or office. We can use it for anything, sir.
No, anything. But what is your target customer?
Sir, mainly home and classrooms.
Home and classrooms.
Yes.
Okay. But both require different configurations.
No, sir, both are nearly same, sir. Not much difference.
No, number of sensors will be more, no?
Yes, sir.
Classroom is a huge area.
It depends, sir. According to the size of the room, it depends, sir.
Okay.
Size of the room and number of devices which we need to control.
Okay. But what, again, I'm coming back to the same question. What is your contribution? Many people must be doing this because it's all available in Amazon.
Yes, sir. Only this programming part we will be doing.
No, even programming I feel is available.
Yes, sir.
And then what, Sanjay, what's your contribution? You are telling it is intelligent. How intelligent it is?
Sir, I think what he meant to say is like can be used for same like classroom and home both. So
you can't use the same hardware. You require more sensors, more coverage in a classroom compared to a 10 by 10 bedroom. That is not the point, but in your software itself, what is that novel thing you're going to bring about? No, think about it, Sanjay. We can't accept just some software which is already available on the net. Your original contribution should be there. Use some artificial intelligence, something like that, okay?
Okay.
Or something which understands the behavior pattern of the occupants. Okay, then come out with something very novel.
Okay.
Shivadar sir?
Yeah, yes, exactly. Whatever, because since this being an innovation lab means your contribution that do matter. So whenever you are presenting something, you should highlight the novel thing associated with your idea. Okay, so that should be there. In addition to that, as you suggested, right, some novel thing in the form of identifying the probable users. As you mentioned, if I think what you suggested, if my understanding is correct, can I summarize the following way? If you're
Yeah.
using this intelligent system at home means it is a homogeneous system, whereas in a classroom, it is heterogeneous. The attitude of each and everyone will be different. The mindset will be different. Accordingly, you should consider that as a heterogeneous, as well as when you are at home means it is few people, right? And they will follow the same rationale. Whereas in a classroom, you have 40 students, 40 attitudes, 40 mindsets. So uh, that will make a lot of difference when you want to apply this system. Because why I am mentioning, Sushil sir mentioned about make it as more intelligent. So intelligence, we cannot generalize when you are applying this particular system at home or in a public place like in a classroom. Am I right?
Yeah, that's
Sir,
what.
So
the
Yes.
classroom and home it would be same, sir, because this sensor would be detecting only heat, sir. There is no need for actually studying what pattern is processed and such things, sir. Because if you go for pattern, it would be like facial recognition or something, sir. But in here, we only need heat signature, because heat signature can be easily detected, and there won't be need for any complication in itself.
okay.
No, but what we would like to have is, find the circuit is giving you all the triggers. Right?
Yes, sir.
It should not start giving false alarms.
Okay, sir.
Any electrical equipment, when you switch on and switch off, at least when you switch on, that's the time when it consumes maximum energy.
Yes, sir.
From rest to some speed, okay, you're accelerating, so that's where it's going to consume a lot of energy.
Yes, sir.
So come out with something additional than what, over and above what is available on them.
Okay.
And that something should sell in the market.
Okay.
See, if this is these sensors I'm hearing for last 5 years, okay, but unfortunately it doesn't really come to the households.
Okay.
I have never yet to come across any household which is using this. So why they are not using it? Why the reluctance? So you'll have to look at it as a business point of view also.
Okay.
And it has to be made more attractive to the users. There is something missing, okay? Technology is available, but there is no takers.
Okay.
Right. So next time, let's have one more round of discussion on how you are going to help this concept reach the customers.
Okay, sir.
Next room. Yes, who is ready? Next.
Group 4, sir.
Group 1. Group
4.
4. Okay. So what's your title?
Sir, the gifting, sir. Wedding
Gift selector. No?
Yes.
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 Yeah, go ahead. Tell us what is the progress.
So, yes, sir, we have finalized everything, sir. Now we have just made each, we just divided the project into each step, sir, on how to follow. So each step will be like a different form. And step 1, we log in, and that is one form. And the step 2 will take you to a registration screen. That is a different form. And step 3 is for the user to add new details into the database. And step 4 is scanning and adding a new gift using the mobile camera. Instead of using a mobile application, we have restricted ourselves to a web application, because the new language is called Flutter and Dart. It is it's very difficult to do within a short amount of time. So we are sticking it to a mobile web application. And these are the last 2 steps. And these are the platforms we are working on. For dividing the project among group members, we are using Trello. And the tech we are using is MySQL, PHP. And for working on the front end, we are using Bootstrap and JavaScript. For basic IDE and working on codes, we are using Visual Studio. And for viewing the project at last, we are using Docker. And so far, our progress is each member are working on HTML and MySQL. And for the first step, we have just written a basic HTML code to open the camera using HTML. And sir, do you have your phone nearby, sir?
Yeah, I got it.
So I have sent you a WhatsApp link, sir. Just check if the camera is opening.
What do I do? This you have sent a link, then what should I do?
Yes, sir. Go to the link, sir, and there'll be a button to open the camera. Like choose file will be there, sir. That button.
No, it's not going to that link at all. It's just a text message.
So text me. Send you the link, sir.
Yeah. Okay, fine. You can demonstrate later.
Yes, sir.
Just tell me, I have some basic doubts.
Yes, sir.
To the layman, how is he going to use it?
Sir?
For a layman, he'll be able to select gifts, is it?
Not select gifts, sir. Just it's a registry, sir.
No. What is the purpose of this project? I'm slightly out of track now.
Yes, sir. Storing the gifts in a database, and when the time comes when you need to give a return gift, depending on the occasion, it will recommend it, sir.
Just for giving return gifts.
Return gifts and yes, sir.
Selecting the return gifts.
Yes, sir. We are mainly focusing on occasions like weddings, sir. So in wedding, for example, there'll be a lot of relatives. They'll be giving us a lot of gifts, and when the time comes when their side of the family has a marriage, when we need to give a gift, we should give a gift that which is equal to them. If we give something less, they might take things badly in a society like India. So that's the market we are capturing, sir.
So how will your app work?
Yes, sir.
You forget about what language and all you're using. You tell me at the macro level. So you want to give return gift. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you are going to have a database of all possible gifts.
Not all possible gifts, sir. We'll just have a database of what kind of gift they gave, and on what occasion and on what price. And based on that, we can filter the result.
And you will give suggestions?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, sir, but the suggestion part, we need to, it will take a lot of time, sir. But within this time, which is possible, I have given in the steps, sir. Those things will be needing to work extra.
So you just capture the data of all gifts, whatever you're getting.
Yes, sir. That's the basic plan, sir.
And your assumption is the price of the gift is known.
Yes, sir.
So when you're gift wrapping it, they're going to put a price tag on it also.
So not the price tag, sir. So for example, if they give us something like a watch or something, when we scan it, it will give the price using Google Lens, but we are not using Google Lens here because it is impossible to incorporate Google Lens into this. So we are using a clone of Google Lens, which is almost 60% accurate.
Okay.
So, but
So that's
for
why
now,
identify the product. Huh?
sir, for now we are
That's
sticking
identify
just
the
to the
product.
camera, sir. But later on, we'll be working on with the clone of the Google Lens.
Shivda sir?
No, I had no suggestion. Let them continue, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Let's. So what are you going to show us next after 2 weeks?
So we are planning to the first two steps. We are planning to create the forms for the first few steps.
Okay.
And interacting between those two forms. That's our goal, sir.
And interaction between them. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Next group.
Sir, can you hear me, sir?
Just one second, Ramanathan. What's your group number?
So group 7. Sir.
Okay. Your title?
Yes, sir. Just a second.
What's the title?
So title is bench press safety equipment.
Bench press?
Safety equipment.
Gym mechanism.
Yes, sir. Gym mechanism.
Now you are renamed it as bench press. Huh? Safety.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Sir, in last class we were demanded to get the CAD drawing of the bench press, sir. I mean, whatever we are going to do. So, in actual bench press, the whatever you see in the top view. So this is the stand, and in the sense before a person does the bench press, so it will be placed over here. Now once the person starts doing it, so there will be a shift in the sense near the shoulder it comes down. So for now, if suppose he struggles doing so as you can see from the side view, so the person lays down in here, and his shoulder part comes near to this point. So and he has this provision to step this trigger. So whenever he feels fatigue or unable to do so, he'll be pressing this trigger, and the whole mechanism in the sense about this point, the whole bench will try to come down. So we have thought of two physical mechanism. One is using the spring, or one is using a hydraulic over here. As we know that the bench must not come down in a very fast sense. So there must be high damping that must be present over here. So we are focusing on very hard springs or a highly viscous damper. So this is the CAD drawing, and what it does is when the person triggers this, this point comes down by moving this point. So this points try to go away, and the bench will come down. And as you can see from the top view, there will be a provision over here to place this rod. So the rod will be placed, and the person can come out safely.
Sorry, Ramanathan, about
Yes.
the placing of the trigger mechanism. Yeah, is it at a convenient location?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because from the drawing, yeah, I feel that it is. Do you think that it is at a convenient position for the person to
sir, this is
utilize that
Bhuvandev, sir.
trigger?
So this is Bhuvandev, sir. Hello.
Yes, tell.
Yes, sir. I am also from the same group. It is convenient only, sir. It's very much convenient because we'll be like keeping the legs aside, sir, in both the sides. So it will be easier, sir.
Because
So
from
what
the
the-
figure, I am little bit confused. When you look at the present figure, the side view figure, then if you look at the trigger location, I feel that it is not in a comfortable position. That is why I asked. Maybe my
Nothing, sir.
understanding of that figure is not right. Maybe because of that.
You see that hinge point now, sir. So from that where our hip will lie, sir. So it will be more easier.
If you can use is it possible for you to use a cursor to explain?
Yes,
Is
sir,
it possible? That is better.
Ramanathan, use your
Where
pen
the
now.
person.
Yes, sir. I am giving control to one.
Here you can see now, sir, the hinge point.
About
here only our hip will be there, sir. So from here to left side, our upper body part will be there. And from here to this side, our legs will be in L shape, sir. So like this. So our leg will be, it will be much easier only, sir.
So the triggering mechanism, in order to do that mechanism, we have to use our legs, right?
Yes, sir.
So it'll be sort of a pedal, is it?
Sir?
It'll be sort of a pedal.
Yes, sir. No need for the struggling and all, sir. It will be softer only.
Okay. But do you think it can be realized in 4 months, all these mechanisms?
Sir, actually this mechanism, the hinge point mechanism is already like present, sir. We have to add a hard spring or a hydraulic over here, sir.
That is not in the market, sir.
It's not in the market. Then how are you going to
I am saying means that mechanism we are going to include now, sir. The hydraulic.
Yeah,
That
okay.
is not in the market. That is we are introducing.
So you are confident about getting those components?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
See, sir. Normally we have that hydraulic press in our car, no, sir. In the back dicky, no, sir. For lifting.
Okay.
That kind of thing, sir. Yes, sir.
So in next 2 weeks, Bhuvan, what are you going to show us? What progress you are going to show?
Yes, sir. As Ram said, we will be choosing either hot spring or the hydraulic kind of thing. And
so
also
you'll decide what you want, hydraulic
yes,
or hot spring?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you will also confirm to us the availability of it as well as the cost of it.
Oh, sure, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
So basically, damping mechanism you're going to show us.
Yes, sir.
Cost 1 lakh, then what will you do?
Sir?
1 lakh.
It's going to cost you 1 lakh, then what will you do?
Sir, then we'll come up with spring itself.
Spring itself. Okay. So do a cost estimate also. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Availability as well as the cost.
Okay, sir.
And CAD diagrams, you like to, any CAD diagram should have dimensions.
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay. Keep that in mind. Had you given a human figure also over it, then these questions wouldn't have arisen.
Sir, yes, sir.
Exactly. Yeah.
I presumed and I told sir that was a mistake. I think.
Yes. That is a correct statement from Sushil, sir. Yeah. The CAD diagram means all dimensions, everything should be there. The directions also, because otherwise it is difficult to make out, right? Initially, to be honest, I thought the different way. I thought that the head is somewhere above that trigger. That is why I'm a little bit confused. Okay.
Why can't you use the voice command, Bhuvan? Instead of this trigger and all.
Okay, sir.
Use a voice command, no, which will recognize and then activate something.
Sir, you're saying whenever he feels fatigue, so he has to say something and this has to do on its own.
It will do it.
Sir,
More
usually
costly.
in gyms always it will be noisy. So
Noisy, yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's the problem. Okay. Fine, no issues. Yeah. Go for a simple mechanical thing. Okay. Next group.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'll just present my screen. Sir, I'm Ananda Krishnan from Group 9, sir.
Group 9. Just one second.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. What's your topic?
Our team's topic is game-based learning, sir.
Game-based learning. Okay, fine. Yeah, go ahead with your presentation.
Yes, sir. So, yes, sir. So, our team's topic is game-based learning, and we have I'll just brief on the works done so far, sir. So we have completed our brainstorming of the idea and the features that we'll input in the game, and we also looked upon the market survey, like the similar apps that are already present and how they are influencing something like that, sir. And we also saw that like how we'll improve the learning ideas inside the app. So we'll be like including short video lectures so that they teach the concepts in between, sir. So these are the works we have done so far. And so actually now we just saw on the choice of programming languages that we'll be using for this. So we had many options. Out of that, where we are just displaying few options in this one within the time constraint. So it would be easier for us to move with Scratch. So we just learned our Scratch software in the first year. So we thought of like trying the algorithm and the program with the Scratch. And if we are able to like pick up more with the graphics, then we'll be like moving it further software, sir. So as of now, we are fixed with trying with Scratch, and we just saw few like you can see a few pictures here. So these two are some similar games or similar simulators that were developed in Scratch, and it's available in open source, sir. So we just came across this so that we'll like get to know about the user interface from Scratch. So we as of now decided Scratch, and this is our game flow, sir. So we'll be having two spaces of build space and simulation space. And this build space, we have two things. One is we'll already have few sample designs, and another is the person or the student who is using the app, they can create their own design, and we have an option to modify the parameters. Example, it can be stability parameters or aerodynamic parameters. So we'll be like making the design, and they can understand their design in this build space. So there will be a short videos for displaying the concepts. So they will know few concepts so that they can modify their design for based on the mission that will be in the simulation space. So in simulation space, we'll be like having an option to change the environment conditions. So it can be altitude, or it can be wind speed or something like that. So that there.
Another question, just one second.
Yes, sir.
What is the game the student is going to play, and what is he going to learn from it?
Yes, sir. The game is actually paper plane or kite simulator. So this is our first one. So once we develop this, we'll be like moving into flight simulator, sir.
Okay.
So they will be learning. Yes, sir. So like last week when we presented, Sevada sir suggested that we can just build from this and move on to flight simulator, sir.
Okay. Yeah. I missed it. Yeah. Wait. Okay.
Okay, sir. So we'll be like doing this. So we can change the environment conditions in the simulation space, and we'll be having missions so that they make their glide paper plane or kite based on the missions. So it can be either a long range flight or long endurance flight, so that they modify the parameters there in the build space and try out new designs and just apply them here. So in both the build space and simulation space, we'll be like including the short videos. So in build space, the videos will be for the concepts, whereas in the simulation space, we'll be like making the video provide a hint to the user so that they know about which flight parameters change can help in improvement in this mission or something like that, sir. So this is our idea, and we came up with some idea sketches for the user interface. So it's like we thought of having this user interface, and we made few sketches, sir. So it's like the free flight, that flight simulator option is, we are not like providing it now. So it will be like built later once we complete this paper plane and kite. So this modify and launch is nothing but the build space and the simulation space. So we'll be like, this is the build space. We'll be like having few sample designs already present, and we'll be having a place for modifying the parameters so that they modify the stability conditions, aerodynamic conditions. We'll be like having few modifications, the weight or something. So we'll be including that, and they can design their own paper plane and add their own parameters, sir. So this is one option, build space. And in finally we'll be like having this simulation space where we'll be like having some conditions, some environmental change conditions, and the missions which will be like there. It will help us to examine the flight. So these are the rough sketches we came up with for the user interface, sir. And
so will it be useful for, say, first year aero students, introduction to aerospace?
Yes, sir. Actually, in Sivadas, we first had age criterion from 16 plus, and last presentation, sir suggested us to take it to a much lower level, because since it is some simulator game, so even like school students can get a catch of it, of the concept. Yes, sir. So we have a target audience from 8th standard students till undergraduates or something. They just get the basics of the flight.
Okay, fine.
And so these are the lecture videos that we came across, sir. So we saw that the Airbus company has some few educational lecture videos, so which helps us to like tell the flight why a kite is being flying or something like kite is being flying. And we also have YouTube videos in by certain YouTube channels, like they have an animation based video, so that displays this content in a very illustrative way. So we'll be like using this part of this videos, like a short videos, just to know, just to make sure that these help in just knowing the concepts, as well as few videos will be like taken to provide them hint, like changing this wind speed will improve our certain parameters, something like that, sir. So we have a choice of making custom videos. So now we are like focusing more towards the making the program, the coding part. So once we get it done, so we'll be like making few custom videos and adding up in the towards the lecture video, sir. So this is one picture is from the Airbus lecture video, and another is from a YouTube video.
Okay.
And these are our near future work plans, actually. So we'll be like importing and designing the graphics and animation. So we'll be like getting the icons for Scratch, so that we provide good graphics and like we show the user interface. So like to other with that, we'll get some designs, and from that we'll be like starting with the Scratch coding. So we'll get to know, we'll use the equations that we have already know and apply there with the Scratch coding. So we'll be like doing trials on this, so that if there is any problem in that, we'll be like knowing about that, sir. So we'll be doing that, and finally we'll be like modify the parameters based on some feedback. So we'll just know which parameter to based on this user interface, like if it is not friendly or if it is confusing, so we'll be like move a bit of front or back, like change few
Okay. So after 2 weeks, what are you going to show us?
Yes, sir. So after 2 weeks, like we planned of showing the first level, like the first mission. So we'll make a program of it, and we'll just show you the program, sir. And we'll also show you the algorithm of this the first level that we are like coding.
You'll have some sort of a beta version next week, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Next group.
So this is Sanju from Group 6, sir.
Group
6.
Okay. What's your
sir, our idea is laptop cooling with circular air multiplier mechanism, sir.
So that electronic nose is no longer there.
Sir, no,
okay.
sir.
Okay, so it's laptop cooling. Okay, tell us
Yes,
what is it?
1 second. So is my screen visible?
Yeah, now it's visible. Yeah.
Okay. So our group's idea is to provide a mechanism which includes the air multiplier design into the cooling system of the laptop. So here are some prospective designs of that cooling system. So how does this function? Basically, we have this design here. We have a brushless motor with a fan which sucks in air from an external source. So in this case, the air is from the hot air inside near the CPU itself. So this will suck in that air, and then the air flows through this hoop, and then here we see a small slit, so the air comes out through that slit, so hence this is the movement of the air. So as we see, it's this is the exact mechanism that has been used in a Dyson air multiplier fan. So this has been known to provide cooling effect, a much more efficient cooling effect than a normal fan. Yeah.
No, my Sanjeev, my problem is you are
Yes.
going to cool the laptop, is it? That's your target.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So why you add some more restricted passage? You're creating resistance to the airflow. Just leave it, no, suck the air and then leave it to the surroundings.
Sir, then the case, the cooling will not happen properly, sir. So that's why you chose this.
No, this is external, right? But I can't understand how the heat transfer is going to take place from the laptop to the surroundings. Easiest thing is to just have a exhaust fan which just sucks in air.
Sir, yes, sir, but exhaust fans use blades, sir. So what we are trying to do is that we don't have to use any blades, because blades introduce noise into the system. So we want to introduce a quieter cooling system. So instead of
sorry to interrupt, Sanjay. Hello, Sanjay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello. If
Hello,
you are
yes.
saying like that, here also there is a fan, right?
Sir, but this is not what do you say? It is internal, sir. Actually.
Internal.
But laptops don't have fans, right? Where is the fan in a laptop?
Sir, sir, near the cooling system, we have fans which do these jobs, sir, actually.
No, I can't see any I'm not sure. How can a laptop have an exhaust fan? If it is desktop, I can agree.
Sir, can actually use this for desktops also, sir.
No, that's again my fundamental question, Sanjeev. You are adding some more restriction to the flow of air unnecessarily. And it's no way it's going to help you in the heat transfer.
Sir, can I speak?
Yeah.
Sir, I'm also from the same group, sir.
Okay.
So every laptop has a fan, sir. So the noise is like we observe the noise further in high-end laptops, which needs a lot of processing and graphics power, sir. So, but what we are not restricting the flow of air. It's primary inlet, which is seen below. This is the construction of a generic bladeless fan, sir.
Yeah,
So
air
what
multiplier. Okay.
it takes air from the surroundings, sir, not the heat from
Okay.
laptop. So it takes air from the surroundings and it creates, it passes it through the slit, which initiates the air multiplier process through entrainment. So once the air multiplier process starts, this circle, this hoop is attached to whichever hotspot we need heat to be extracted from, and it is attached by using either some sticker-like thing or suction cups or something. So what it does is it prevents the noise and it efficiently takes the heat from the vent of the laptop. So the heat issue comes in most high-end laptops. The documentation laptops or office laptops don't have this problem.
See, your heat transfer is through convection, and that depends on the air velocity. You are reducing the air velocity by this process. How do you say it's a better way of cooling the laptop? I am not getting it. I am confused.
Sir, we are not taking the heat. We are not sucking the heat from the laptop, sir. We are not sucking it. What we are doing is this air multiplier process is a self-sufficient cycle, sir. We don't have to give power all the time. So once the process starts, it efficiently the air is directed from one side of the hoop to the other side. So the heat release process will be faster, sir. It's not like we are changing.
How? See, heat release is heat transfer. Okay, and that is only by convection it's going to happen. Shivdas, sir?
Hello, sir. And not only that, yeah, that dome-like thing that will occupy considerable area also, right?
Sir, it can be made compact, sir. That won't be big issue.
Nitin, suggest. Sir, please go ahead, sir.
No. They have that curved section, right? That curved section. Is there any advantage having a curved section rather than have a straight section?
Sir, for the entrainment process to happen, we should have a circular or like oval-like structures.
Entrainment happens where? Is it inside or outside?
Inside the hoop, sir.
Yes, sir, inside.
Hey, come on, yeah, how can? You are talking about entrainment. No, it is entrainment with the outside air. What do you mean by entrainment?
Sir,
inside it will be on flow only, right?
Yes, sir. The slit flow will push air from one side of the hoop to the other side. It will initiate that process.
Which slit you are doing?
Sir,
you are having only two slits, right? One at the entrance, one at the exit. Am I right?
No, sir.
Sir, this is a slit, sir.
Oh.
I'll mark it if you want. This is a slit, sir, actually.
That black line, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
But when you have a slit, that is slit, right? When you have a flow happening inside, and when you have such a slit opening, how you will have a controlled flow that can happen inside that dome-like thing? Because you put a slit all along that dome-like thing, that curved section. Am I right? That black thing. It is a slit, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, along that slit, you are now creating the entrainment, right? Through that slit. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, that entrainment happening because of there exists a flow, right? Flow through what? Flow through that slit?
Sir, this is the transverse cross section, sir. It is not the entire thing.
This is the entire thing, sir.
This you
is the
show.
entire.
Where is the slit now?
It runs in the inner rim, sir. Inner
rim.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the air comes through here and it flows.
This is how you have to show, rather than that other picture.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
With an appropriate flow direction, you can put arrows in that vertical section through which air enters, and then it will be circulating around that slit. Where is the slit? This is the point, right? Rather than simply showing a ring there, nobody can make out how the system functions.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. Now you answer Sushil sir's concern. Okay.
Yeah, Nitin, so we are not rejecting your idea. Only thing is we are not understanding your idea. You are unable to convince us. Next time you show us the flow, air flow and the heat transfer. At least the conceptual part.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, and how your gadget is going to improve the heat transfer.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
After that, we would like to do more studies, quantify how much is the improvement.
Fine. Sushil sir, can I interrupt once more?
Yeah, sure, sir.
About this, I'm asking students. So in this setup, where is your fan now?
Sir,
You
which fan,
mentioned
sir?
in the hello?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned in your earlier explanation some fan-like thing at the bottom, right?
Yes,
So,
sir. The primary
with
fan
respect
which.
to,
Yes, sir. This.
yes, sir. So it will be there, right? This fellow will be sucking air from outside. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
To
It
create a
acts
flow
like
in
an
the vertical
impeller,
section. Impeller.
Yes, sir. It provides flow through the to the slit, and that slit helps in the flow through the hoop, sir.
So actually, it is better to explain with the first one. Okay, that complete ring.
Okay, sir.
Here you should have the flow directions, everything in a proper way. So the explanation, what you want to convey becomes more precise then, rather than the other one will confuse only.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, so come out with a good conceptual model in the next 2 weeks. Okay. Something which everyone can understand and get convinced also. Okay, Nitin. Next group.
So group 5.
Yeah, just one second. Group 5, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I hope the screen is visible.
What's your title now?
So we're doing a flame test analysis to help the visually impaired perform lab activities.
Earlier it was some heat recovery or something, no? What?
No, sir.
So you have changed it. Just tell me what is your topic.
Flame test analysis for the visually impaired.
Flame test
analysis
or visually impaired. Okay, fine. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So our design algorithm involves 4 major steps. That is locating the image, and this works more like a face recognition. You just have to recognize the flame that is there. Then we have to process the image and identify what color the image is showing. Then we generate a voice. Saying out the color. So for that, we took after studying a wide spread of spectrum of colors, then we selected only the ones that were used for the chemistry lab and especially for the flame test. So we've come up with a list of compounds, their colors and their frequencies and codes. So with the help of these, we'll be coding our app software. So we also made image processing. We studied about the image processing technique, saying because this light is produced during the heating, which gives out thermal vibrations as photons, and because there'll be two different kinds of flame present, the flame from the Bunsen burner and the flame because of the salt, we have to identify which one is which. For that, we studied our image processing. Then also considering that it will be done in real time, we cannot choose one single image like as in this picture. We have to study it for at least a few frames. So here we've shown again, it's another study about how flames vary with a time period, over a time period, and how it oscillates. And we'll be looking into this, and we'll track the oscillation of the flame. And when we list down the amplitude versus the frequency, we will get the highest frequency. And the maximum frequency will represent the color. And this frequency, after getting the color, we will be voicing it out to the people. And this is a small sample code of what we've tried to do so far.
Akshay, last.
Is it maximum frequency or amplitude?
Amplitude, sir, sorry. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
Actually, last class I wasn't there, so can you just briefly tell me what is the product and who's your customer?
So we're developing. So we took about we're helping the visually impaired have a better schooling experience. So we have chemistry labs in school where we perform flame tests, which will almost be like this. We'll introduce a salt into the Bunsen burner, and that will represent different colors. So here, crimson for lithium and green for copper. So because they can't see, we will be helping them voice out the color. We will identify the color that is being burnt, and we'll voice it out to them so that they can perform experiments themselves without having to rely on other people.
Okay. So after 2 weeks, what are you going to show us?
So we plan to code the image with the code that I showed last time. So we've done an entire study of the colors that are used in the flame test. So we'll be coding for each and every one of these. And after being able to identify this, we'll try to do it for real time. That is the frames that I showed.
So you require access to some chemistry lab?
Oh, yes. Or we can just buy salt, like salt is available commercially.
No, but then all the Bunsen burner and all the stuff.
It can be actually any fire. Doesn't have to
Any
be.
fire. Okay. And you'll be capturing the image. Huh?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. So Shivda sir. Say anything, sir, Shiva sir?
Sushi sir, for me it is okay. Some
It's okay.
network problem. That is why.
Okay, fine, sir. Right, okay, Akshay. Next group.
Thank you.
Sir, Vignesh from Group 3.
Group 3, yeah, Vignesh. What's your topic?
Sir, our topic is brake fluid detection, leak detection.
Brake fluid leak detection. Okay. It's not milk like level alarm or something, right? It's now brake fluid leakage. Okay, go ahead, Vignesh. Before that, yeah, Priya, Akshay, and all, just after the innovation lab is over, just hold on for some more time. We'll discuss about the BTech project. It's only for my groups, the 6 students. Yeah, please go ahead, Vignesh.
Yes, sir. So we thought of doing this brake fuel leak detection to detect the leak of brake fluid to avoid accidents. So basically, what we have done is we have identified a sensor that we'll be using for the system, and this is a basic concept that's available in the market. So we are actually planning to use this concept for our brake fluid detection. So basically, how this works is the picture on the main picture shows the sensor. It is basically an optical sensor. So the basic setup is there is a dome-like structure. So in our case, there'll be a small dome-like structure which will have an LED light and a photo transistor. So basically, photo transistor is to sense the light to convert it into an electrical signal. So the entire dome structure will be housed into the brake fluid reservoir. So the main principle is total internal reflection. So when there is, let's say the reservoir is empty and the dome is inside the reservoir. So the dome has the LED light which will give an LED light, and this LED light will get internally reflected, and the photo detector inside the dome will detect the LED light. So when there is no brake fluid present, there'll be a particular intensity of light that the transistor will detect. Now let's say there is the brake fluid inside the setup. So since there is a fluid which is the oil here, there is a change in the refractive index compared to the previous example. So what happens is the intensity of light that the detector detects will be less than the empty reservoir. So in the actual case, when the reservoir is full with the fluid, it detects it has a particular refractive index which will lead to a particular intensity. But once the fluid starts leaking, the refractive index also due to the leak, the intensity will increase, because now there is loss of fluid, so the intensity of light detected will increase. So this way, this transistor can be connected to a sound alarm or something which will be inside the car. So when there's a leak, this will be detected and it can give off a sound alarm which will give a warning to the the driver. So basically, we thought of this sensor because there are some low-cost transistors and LED lights in the market. So what we will be doing is we'll be coming up with a small prototype to test this mechanism. And yeah, so this way we'll eventually be designing the prototype. So for the next 2 weeks, what we'll be doing is we'll come up with the proper diagram, the engineering diagram, and we'll also be looking at the location of the sensors and all that. So this is what we have done for now.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, sir.
Everything looks good, okay, but
Yes, sir.
how your detector will distinguish the leakage from the usage of the braking fluid? Because every time when you apply brakes, usually some amount will be utilized, right? That is not leakage. That is not leakage. So that time also the amount will get reduced from the storage. So that is the normal case.
Yes,
So
sir. Yes,
how you understand my concern?
yes, sir. I understood, sir. Yes.
So how your system can distinguish? Is it a
We'll-
leakage or it is a usage?
For that, we have to look into pre-programming a minimum limit. So when there is usage, there isn't much loss of fluid compared to what it will be in a leakage case. So based on that only we have to do. Sir.
Yeah, that part is very important.
Yes, sir.
Not simply emptying the thing and have some information
Yes,
and
sir.
filling the thing. The most crucial thing is how to distinguish the normal part
Yes, sir.
from the leakage. You understand?
Yes, sir. Understood, sir.
So getting it, no, Vignesh?
Yes, sir. I
What
got
sir
it.
is telling.
Yes, sir.
So it's not the amount, it's the rate of consumption.
Yes, sir. Okay.
That's where you have to concentrate.
Yes,
And I have one more query. The property of the fluid, brake fluid, changes with time. Okay, even if you're not using it, it gets deteriorated. Huh?
Yes, sir.
That's why even if you don't run the car for some time, also for few months, still you would like to change the brake fluid. So what will your sensor be able to handle such situations?
Yes, so that we have to still look into, sir.
So all these aspects, take care and come out with some suggestions to overcome all these problems.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Next 2 weeks. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next group. Any other group left? No? Sanjay?
Sir, no, not sure.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3 is over, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, all 9 are over.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
You have 9 groups or 10 groups?
9 groups, sir.
9 groups, no? Okay, fine. Okay. So we'll meet after 2 weeks, whatever sir has told and whatever comments I have given. So you will have to show us the progress after 2 weeks. Is it okay? All group leaders, no? Sanjay?
Yes, sir.
And next week we will be having the flight testing lab.
Yes, sir.
Same
UAV.
day. Yeah, okay. UAV lab, whatever you call it. Okay. My sir, anything else, sir? Shiva, sir? We can wind up?
No, nothing, Sushil, sir. So we will meet after 2 weeks now.
After 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So I can log out, right?
Yeah, you can log out, sir. Yeah.
Okay.